What if your company's most valuable executive was not a person, but an AI agent that quietly is driving decision, optimizing profits, and reshaping the strategy beyond human comprehension? Let's do a thought experiment and imagine a company that actually did that. A company that secretly embedded an AI agent into the leadership team. For a while, it worked really well until it didn't. This is a story of an AI executive team that outperformed humans and what happened when it ran out of the data that it needs. Let's imagine a company. Let's call it Innovation Dynamics. They're a solid mid-tier player in a tech space, and they are stuck because their revenue is not growing. It's pretty much a flat line. Every executive meeting is feeling like a broken record. They're drowning in data. Apparently, they're starved for wisdom. Now, the leadership team is very smart. Don't get me wrong. They're experienced, but at the end, they're human. They're biased, they're overwhelmed, and they're running out of ideas. The CEO, Evelyn Reed, is a pragmatist. She's seeing the writing on the wall. So she proposed a radical secret experiment. She authorized the creation of a new executive, codenamed Atlas. Now, Atlas is not a person at all. It is a generative AI agent designed to act as a virtual executive. It's an autonomous system plugged directly into the company's data, its market feed, its decision support, all of the strategy documentation. The goal is simple, and it's ruthless in my mind: eliminating human error from high-level strategy. Now, Evelyn wanted the decision to be driven by logic instead of ego. She wanted to be driven by evidence instead of emotions. Atlas is built to do what humans cannot do: analyze trillions of data points in real time, spot invisible trends, and map the most mathematically sound path to profit. It's massive gamble, we all know that, knowing only a few people at the top are aware of this secret ploy. They were about to hand the reins of the entire company to an AI agent. Now, the results were immediate and staggering. In the first week, Atlas devoured every piece of data it could get its hands on: marketing data, competitive intelligence data, financial report, Wall Street data. And the first recommendation it made was staggering: a complete overhaul of companies' tangled and complicated pricing structure, something that the human team has been debating for a long time but have not executed. Atlas simulated millions of price scenarios and solved it in minutes. The result was a 15% jump in margins in the first quarter since it's implemented. Next, it spotted an untapped customer segment that the leadership team has missed for a while. Atlas proposed a new project to optimize the feature, designing a marketing strategy with surgical precision. Within 6 months of this new product launch, it captured 10% of the market. The board meetings were completely transformed. Gone were the days of marathon debates and gut-driven arguments that are happening in the company. Atlas presented its forecast and visualizations, and the executives were simply approving it. It kind of felt less like a leadership team, but more like a validation or a steering committee of sorts. The stock of this company started to soar, and the Wall Street started to hail Innovation Dynamic as a visionary in space. The operations were running flawlessly. The forecast was really good. It was golden age truly for this company. The AI agent is working 24/7. It's not stopping. It's not emotional, and it's always demonstrably right. Now, this may sound too good to be true. Well, guess what? In fact, it is. Then time came when there is a crisis out of nowhere. It was not a market crash or like a new competitor in space. It was a black swan event. And as you know, these are happening more frequently now. A geopolitical conflict that crippled the supply of the rare earth mineral. That mineral just happened to be the backbone of Innovation Dynamics' top product line. There was no historical evidence for this type of an event. So Atlas, which heavily relies on data and patterns, was stuck. It couldn't do anything, couldn't provide the right recommendation. And the models began to fail. The projections were not working as they were working before. The executive teams turned to Atlas for guidance, and it delivered a recommendation that was cold. It was very precise, like AI does, and at the end, it was very catastrophic. Laying off to 40% of the workforce, shutting down 3 factories, stopping all the R&D activities. Now, the logic, according to Atlas, was good, but the outcome of that was monstrous. Atlas is really good at optimization, but it fails when it comes to empathy, ethics, judgment, which is required in these cases. And when the rumor leaked, the stock of this company started to crash. Atlas, which was their hero, had just drawn the blueprint for apparently their destruction. And that's where the humans came to lead again. Evelyn looked at Atlas's plan and said, no, we're not going to implement that. She appointed the head of marketing, David, who happened to have a very high EQ, emotional quotient, with the task. David built a transparent communication strategy, talking to customers and investors with empathy and honesty. Meanwhile, Dr. Aries, the head of R&D, remembered an old idea. There was a Shell project that explored a sustainable alternative material. It was kind of a long shot for this company because it was born out of intuition and human creativity. Like, Evelyn didn't shut down Atlas completely. She reframed it. The mistake was not just that Atlas was an agent, but basically how these organization was using Atlas. She gave Atlas a new goal: model the financial and logistical viability of 6 months pivot to Aries' alternative material. Include the cost of retaining, not laying off, the employees, and long brand impact of becoming first to market in a sustainable environment. For the very first time, Atlas was just optimizing survival. It was also supporting human vision. It ran simulations, it crunched a whole bunch of numbers, and delivered a completely new batch of results. Now, these results were high risk, but at the same time, they were more viable and potentially could be transformative for this organization. This AI agent is no longer leading in this case. It was collaborating with its human executives. The next 6 months were very tough and brutal for this organization because they had to reinvent themselves. Aries led the creativity, David led the empathy, and Evelyn, their courageous CEO, led with courage. Atlas ran in the background, continued optimizing, simulating, and supporting like a partner. It was not a replacement. Innovation Dynamics emerged stronger than ever. Their pivot to sustainable tech had replaced and reshaped the entire industry. So what's the lesson that we learned from this? Atlas is a phenomenal engine, but the best engine needs a good driver. AI agents are lacking moral compass, creativity, and vision that really truly define the human leadership, at least today. As MIT and Stanford researchers continue to remind us, Atlas can outperform humans on data, but is going to falter when faced with ambiguity and emotion. True success in my mind comes from a hybrid model, where AI-powered agents are working in tandem with human, and the humans are giving that AI a purpose, which is the keyword. So the story of Innovation Dynamic reveals one truth. AI is the ultimate engine, but humans are providing that steering wheel. The future is going to be belonging to the companies and leaders who can collaborate with AI and combine the human vision with the machine intelligence. So let me ask you this question. If Atlas AI agent were to join your company today, what essential human insights would you bring to guide its power? And that is going to become your competitive moat. Share your answer in the comment. And before you go, don't miss my next video that is showing up on the screen, where I'm going to show you how real organizations today are building their own agents and what leaders must do to stay ahead in the age of intelligent automation.